Welcome everybody to the first official episode of the Bad Bread Corner, where I feature your clips and comment over them like an idiot. Today is our first official episode, as I had already made an episode 0 for this. At any rate, I really hope that you like what I've made here. Enjoy this little clip, it's really cool, let's get on with it. What do you say? I actually got a lot of submissions this time around, so I hope to make justice to them. Without further ado, here we go. Starting us off is Spring with his mage build in Liurnia of the Lakes. He's invading into a team of a host and a phantom. Two players that no doubt will try to quickly overwhelm him as soon as they get the chance. Now the thing about a mage build is they carry pretty varied options, and will likely be able to stand up to whatever they have to offer. Now the Boilburn Shack, which is this area right here, is a popular area for gankers to just gather up and try to gank up on hosts. Thing is, this poor little phantom here gets caught in a barrage of Carrion Slicer and gets absolutely fucked by a swift Glintstone shard. Now the host is of course running dual Rivers of Blood as hosts tend to do, and gets absolutely outmaneuvered by the Carrion Piercer, which is a wonderful spell at outspacing people. Now, the thing about mage builds is they have a lot of options, and here Prin is showing that off expertly with the Carrion Piercer into the Glade Blade there. Now he's also got Star Shower, which is kind of like a lesser version of the Stars of Ruin spell. Now Stars of Ruin was recently nerfed and as such has seen way less use throughout the meta. Now he's also got Terra Magica here buffing his own spells. Now the thing about Magic Glade Blade is you can actually cast Terra Magica and then go into it while the Glade Blade is still charging, and it will get the magic boost from your own Terra Magica. And the host clearly cannot take all of the fucking projectiles being thrown his way. GG Prin, that was a really good invasion. I'm happy to receive Mage Invasions like this, they're always very fun to see. Especially with all the balance patches that change how things work, especially in the magic area. Now for their next invasion, we have Uneven Bets, who is invading on her range build in Castle Stormvale. I love range builds. We're still early into the invasion, she still hasn't found her target, but is soon to close up on him. After all, the compass guides her and she knows exactly where to go to locate her target. That said, from what you'll come to see, this target is a sneaky one, and while she seems to be carrying the upper hand when it comes to stealth, what you'll see here, she uses the Assassin's Gambit Azure War. She seems to want to set up an ambush and to want to surprise the host by sneaking up on him and catching him off guard. Now the thing about stealth is you have to be very aware of where your opponents are in order to not enter their field of vision. And the problem with this is sometimes your opponents are not as visible to you as you thought they were, like you saw there. That host was completely invisible, obscured by the structure in the castle. And now that Assassin's Gambit is worn off, the host will completely give up his advantage and go on the run, for some reason. And while Bets here completely benefits from that, seeing as she has a range build, the host just completely puts himself at a disadvantage by running away from a range build like that. And now he's on the run. Hosts love to run, we all know that, and the problem is, there's several ways that he could take from here. The poison arrows are key. If she had managed to land a poison on him, he would not be able to really effectively run away, as the poison would always give away his location by his health bar. The elevator seems to go down there, and Bats gives chase up the stairs and towards the elevator, and notices that the lever is not currently operable, meaning the elevator is still in motion with the host going down. Now that the lever is completely down, she's able to call the elevator back up. Now the problem is the host could be coming up in secret, hoping to ambush, so she prepares everything that she has to in order to avoid that from happening. Fortunately, it seems he's not quite there yet, and she takes the lift down to go after him. Now here's the thing, she tries to go for the rafters here, I notice, and sadly ends up missing them and taking a little bit of fall damage, which does give away her position, unfortunately. But the host is nowhere to be seen. And now you think, where is this host? She unfortunately turns her back here and gets completely ambushed yet again. Now a stealth build getting ambushed twice is actually a pretty funny thing. Not to worry though, she does carry a dagger for situations like these, a dagger which quickly puts that host to rest before he can even tell what happened. GG bets, that was a really good invasion. Now on to our next clip. For this clip, we have Woven the Word showing us the power of the Lightning Ram Azure War. Now Lightning Ram is an absurdly powerful Azure War as it scales off weapon damage and can be put on any weapon, meaning that placing it on a colossal weapon or colossal sword such as the Zweihander actively increases the damage that the weapon actually deals. As you can see there, the host gets absolutely decimated by Lightning Ram. And he goes on to show a few more clips of him absolutely melting hosts down and their phantoms as well with the Lightning Ram. There's nothing they can really do there. If you don't have the poise to roll through it and poise through it, you're not getting out of it. And see, here's the thing. Lightning Ram is strong enough by itself, but when paired with a weapon like the Zweihander, which is strong with its mix-ups, you've got a real beast on your hands. You've got the range to cover when you're surrounded, you've got the crouch pokes, you've got the heavy pokes, you got everything you really need. And as you can see here, Lightning Ram just absolutely decimates everything it comes into contact with. Not to mention the Lightning Infusion's scale with Dex, which is actually pretty good for weapons that have low requirements, such as the Zweihander. Definitely a good Azure War, among the best there is, I would even dare to say. Now, I don't see it as often as I probably should, because people, maybe it's a little silly, maybe the bleeding on top of the rolling looks a little dumb to people, and people want to look edgy and cool. But honestly, as long as it gets the job done, it's good. And it's that good, I mean, check that shit out. On top of the Frost Zweihander, which he seems to be running, absolutely fucking melting him down. Now here's Dad Bass with his Dudley cosplay, and I'm going to make a special mention here of how absolutely fucking impressive this invasion was. Now Dudley is a character from Street Fighter 4, and he is in full cosplay of this amazing boxer. I used to actually play him back in the day. And here's the thing. He is completely outnumbered, and will be even more outnumbered, as you'll see soon. Playing with fist weapons, using the Phantom's Trick Mirror to look normal instead of like red. And he's just using fist weapons, and he's like rolling, of course, because, I mean, you've got to have something to go with on a build like this. And he's getting pelted with projectiles left and right. They seem to have almost everything up their sleeve that they would need to get somebody from afar. And all he got is fucking fist weapons and the hello carving, along with Storm Stomp to cover a little bit of range. But I mean, at this point, you kind of need that. Now here he is, fucking champ, fist in hand, beating down these two guys, the host and his phantom. One of them with a katana, of course, and hurling spells left and right. This other guy waiting for another phantom to show up. And about that phantom that's about to show up, you're about to see, I rarely hate on people. I rarely hate on people for their builds. But there's just something about the build that phantom brings that just irks me. The other guy just, of course, just continuing to hurl projectiles left and right. It never ends. It just never ends. And Dudley here, chill, cool, just calm and ready, and ready to take on anything. Now here's this phantom that I was talking about. It starts out with a Scarlet Leonia hoping to get a cheeky rod, does not get it off, fortunately for Dudley here. And here's the thing, right? If it was just Scarlet Leonia, that phantom wouldn't be as bad. Here come the flies though. The flies are the first hallmark of a terrible phantom. Here are the rocks, of course. You can never go without the rocks. And Rod Breath. Now this is where it starts to get a little silly. This phantom is bringing Rod Breath. He's bringing the flies. What more could he possibly have to be absurdly annoying? Right, he's got the Blade of Death right there. That's another hallmark of an annoying gank. Blade of Death again, completely misses. Doesn't even get in with the phantom effect there. Very fortunately here, because that would have been very dangerous. Tries to get off another Rod Breath, fortunately. Light rolling has been buffed, and that Baz is just aiming to take out this little phantom here who's very low on health. And if there's one thing that was missing from this plethora of phantom shitters, it's this. It's fucking Wave of Gold. As if everything else wasn't fucking enough, this phantom is bringing Wave of Gold. It's the ultimate shitter. I am so happy that I know what happens to him. Now, he manages to get up the Rod Breath, and he takes another comic to the face. This is not looking good, but manages to heal it up. This guy's a pro. This guy's an absolute legend. Manages to get the combo off there. and calmly takes the Rodballers there. Just completely calmly in the face of that Phantom, that shitter approaching him. Rivers of blood, because why the fuck not? Gets the kukri off, which I will say is pretty impressive to put the blood loss like that. But things are looking pretty grim. There's very little options for a hero here, except this triple Storm Stomp there. Completely misses on the finisher there, sadly, and gets completely overwhelmed once again. But he seems to be very clear on when to attack and when to go on the offense. No trouble there. Storm Stomp into the crack here, takes out that shitter. I am so happy to see that. Fuck you, get fucked. And now it's a lot easier. Got an Estus for that too as well, so that's nice. Gets bled there, but manages to roll the bleed, which is incredible. I mean, nothing but incredible displays. From this point onward, it's just easy. The second Phantom has been taken out. I don't think this host can really last very long on his own. He was clearly relying on his Phantoms to play the game for him, and is about to see what it's like to be on the receiving end of Dudley's fucking gloves. Now, he tries to go for the stupid fucking stomp there, because of course he would just do that at this point. And gets absolutely fucked by the punching. GG, that point down was very earned. Now for our next invasion, we got Cryogenic invading in the Academy of like Rhea Lucaria. Now this invasion is a little long, so I've done you the favor of cutting it down a little bit in the parts where there's a lot of waiting done. Now starts off, gets clipped there a little bit, somehow fat rolls for some reason. I think he had swapped to something there, but manages to medium roll once again. As you can tell, the Phantoms are on his ass like flies on shit, and he's not getting a lot of breathing room here. Fortunately, the marionettes alongside the sorcerer managed to create an opening for him. Now that they're on the back foot, Cryo makes chase, seeing as he's got two marionettes coming up behind him like fucking soldiers there. He tries to go for the blender there. Unfortunately, marionettes are very weak, and they don't really hit a lot of what they're throwing out. They're throwing out a lot of attacks. I mean, I gotta commend their spirit, but they die very quickly and don't really get their job done. Now the Rhea Lucaria sorcerer is putting in some work there, but unfortunately it's also not enough. These hosts are way over-leveled for this area. So Cryo decides to take the time that they're going to use to take out that sorcerer to create an ambush here. And he's going to make a run for a more strategic position and swap out what he needs to swap out. Ironic that somebody named Cryo has fire weapons on him, but I'm not going to comment on that. So he stays here, and this is the part where I've sped it up a little bit because there's a lot of waiting done. Because the right opportunity really sometimes takes ages to come by. And the right invader knows when to wait for it. And waiting for it is an important part of invading, in fact. It's actually one of the most important parts. I tend to just rush in and get my ass beat. Not a very good look for me most of the time. Waiting is important. They were not expecting that attack from the back. Unfortunately, Cryo whiffs and gives away his position, messing up his all the waiting he did for that ambush just like that. It really is that quickly that that happens. Now here's the thing, right? Flaming Strike can make short work of these guys really quickly. However, they're not letting up. Not at all. They are both running weapons that can really quickly pressure Cryo here. So he has to take it really slow. One position that he might try to go for is the bridge here, as the bridge will force them to get funneled up and potentially make a blunder. Unfortunately, as he's hoping for a blunder, they're hoping for a blender, and they're not letting up that much. Manages to let off that beautiful fake Flaming Strike there, and completely manages to force him to retreat there. But they're back on him like flies on shit. Manages to not throw himself off the bridge there somehow. Again, I don't know how you're alive, man. And then here's the chase that he was waiting for. This area has a lot of dogs and corpses, especially dogs. Let's mention the dogs and the archer up there first. Those are going to add a lot of pressure that's going to be vital in taking this team out. Between the dogs and the archer just raining arrows from above, and these things going for command grabs all the time. There's very little options for the host and the Phantom to fight him specifically, so they have to focus on the PvE as well. And that's the thing, they can't really focus on the PvE with a Cryogenic on their ass. That said, they're still kind of putting in the pressure. I gotta commend those hosts. They're doing some work. Unfortunately, Phantom falls right here, and with a Phantom gone, as we all know, the hosts are always soon to follow. And now the host is running away, rolling, panic rolling at that, trying his best not to die, but at this point, I mean, he should basically accept that if his phantom has died, so is he going to die. He's alone, he's got dogs on his ass, he's got Cryo on his ass, there's nothing much he can do anymore. He's going to try to go for the elevator here, unfortunately Cryo follows suit. An elevator fight occurs, which honestly, this one is really cool. I really like this clip because of this elevator fight. It's absolutely amazing as a place to fight, but he pussies out and gets off the elevator, which will ultimately spell his doom, as this thrusting sword running attack is far too much for him. GG Cryo, that was a very good invasion. And thank you to everybody who sent in their clips. Make sure to send your own for the next episode, releasing in the near future. Take care.